Hey guys, what is going on? Dylan here. What I got for you today is a video going over every single encounter in Vesper'S Host, that new dungeon that came out this past Friday. This is not going to be going over any of the secrets or the puzzles. I'm going to do that in a completely separate video to try to keep it as organized as possible. This is just for the people that might need some help with the actual dungeon that are having some trouble. So what you're going to do is when you start this dungeon off, you're going to come up to your first area, your kind of intro area. That's going to give you a little taste of what this dungeon is about. There's going to be a bunch of vandals and marauders that you need to ad clear. Once you've ad cleared enough of them, you're going to get a message that pops up in the bottom left that's going to say a viral carrier approaches. What that means is two enemies just spawned with a buff. One of them is going to have scanner. The other is going to have operator. If you're familiar with Deepstone Crypt, you'll kind of have a general idea of what to do here, but for those of you that don't, scanner means that you can see something that other players cannot. So once you pick up that scanner buff, in Deepstone Crypt, it would highlight things in yellow, but in this dungeon, it actually puts it on your radar. So with scanner, you're going to go stand by the thing that is marked yellow. It is going to be the terminal / keypad, I call them keypads, and you're going to stand by it. If it turns white, it means it is a real keypad. If it disappears from your radar entirely, it means it is a fake keypad. Now, for those of you that are getting the buff, keep in mind that you have a 60-second timer at the top of your screen. If that reaches 0, you will die with the buff. You do have to plant that in an augmentation terminal. You can pick it immediately back up after depositing it. There's no like cooldown or anything, but just keep an eye on that actual timer at the top. For operator, you're going to follow the person with scanner, and you are going to shoot only the real keypads. There is going to be 4, there's 5 total in this room, but there's going to be 4 that the operator needs to shoot. In this dungeon, there's going to be, it's kind of the rule of 4. There's always 4 in every single encounter. 4 something, 4 this, 4 that. So as I'm making my way around, you saw the first one, it disappeared from the radar entirely, and the last 2 turned white, means that they are real. So generally here, I'm doing this solo, but if you're running it with someone, you would be calling out to them, you know, this one's real, that one's real. Maybe work out a numerical system, just some way of relaying that information to them so they know which keypad to shoot. So you can see here I have operator, and I am following my buddy around, and he's calling out, yep, this is real, or yep, this is fake, whatever. And we're just shooting the correct keypads, and he is going and depositing his scanner buff, which technically you don't need to for this opening bit. You could just walk through. This has like a field, or like you can see like the field on there. You can just walk through it and it'll get rid of your buff. You don't need to pick it back up. So that doesn't play a role right now. Okay, on to the very first encounter. This is going to be activation. You're going to reboot the system on that spherical little robot right there. And when that happens, a brig is going to spawn. So you're going to want to fry or kill this brig. And then after you do that, you're going to get another buff that's going to spawn. So this is basically doing what we did in the introduction, except now, instead of all the keypads being in this room, you have to do 3 sets of it, and they're split into 3 separate hallways. They're going to be in the corners of the map. You can see there's the yellow mind. I don't know if you saw it in the camera, in the footage back there. There's yellow mind or yellow brain, blue lungs, and red heart in the corners. In the back right corner, you can see that's blocked. That's how we get out of here. So it's going to be in the other 3 corners of the map, if that made any sense. So you can see right now we're heading to blue lung. So once you get into this hallway, there's going to be a bunch of orange bars and yellow bars, invis yellow bars. You have to kill every single enemy because there's a door that's blocking the way ahead of you, and it will not open until every single enemy is dead, which you'll see what I mean here in a second. This, you got to be kind of quick on it because there is that scanner debuff or timer at the top. If that reaches 0, obviously you'll die, and there is no augmentation terminal until you've gotten into this room. So you have to be a little quick, but it's not like crazy close sort of deal. You can take your time, make sure you're ad clearing appropriately. So you see there the way was blocked. We had accidentally forgot to kill one enemy. So I'm going to make my way in here, and because my buff is getting pretty low, I'm going to deposit it here in this augmentation terminal and just go ahead and pick it back up. Now in this room, or in any of the rooms that you go to, there is going to be an operator that spawns. If you deposit your operator in the augmentation terminal, it is the only time that you'll have to kill the operator. So make sure you do that. There's also going to be 6 of these yellow bars in total. 2 on the way, 2 in the room, and 2 on the way back. So keep that in mind as well. So what I'm doing here is I have a numerical system for how I do this. I always start from the closest as I enter the room and go back. Make sure you relay your numerical system or whatever way that you have to effectively communicate with your operator which keypads are real. So 1 is when you first enter the room. I'm standing right in front of 2, and then I just go clockwise, 3, 4, and then 5, 6. And I'm calling out 1 real, 2 real, 3 real, 4 fake, 5 fake, 6 real, etc., so on and so forth. So just make sure you have an effective way of communicating which terminals are real and which ones are not. And it'll be 4 real ones and 2 fake ones always. After your operator shoots the real keypads, a nuclear core is going to deposit. You can see he's carrying it right there. He's going to make sure he deposits his operator buff back in the terminal, and that's very important because that does prevent you from having to kill an operator enemy again. And I'm going to deposit my scanner so that we don't have to wait in the middle for another scanner to appear. Trust me, just make sure you deposit it in the actual augmentation terminal. It makes this a lot smoother. On your way back, the nuclear core, while you're holding it, you can get radiation up to ×10. If you get up to ×10, you will die. So you have to make sure that if you are close with your radiation, that you're dropping it because, you don't want to die, obviously. If it is on the ground and not held by somebody, there is a 60-second timer that does not reset. So you have to make sure that on your way back, you're at least passing it to someone, or that you're not dropping it for too long, because if it reaches 0 seconds, then the actual nuclear core will explode. And you'll have to do everything all over again. So once you get back to the main room, you're going to want to kill another brig. There is a blue force field around the chest that you have to deposit them in. That chest is kind of behind the spherical robot. That's where you're going to plant those nuclear cores. You'll see it here in a second. Deposit your nuclear core there, and then make your way onto the next room. Now we are heading over to Red Heart. So every time that you get a nuclear core and you head back to the original room, you're going to have to kill a brig to re-unlock those, or take away the force field surrounding those chests. So now we're getting back into this room, making our way, clearing it, and we're going to pick up the buff again because those augmentation terminals are right behind us. So our buff is already waiting there for us because remember, we planted them back where we came in. Same thing. Repeat the process. Go to the keypad, call out real or fake. That's 1, that's 2, that's 3. You can also say, front right, middle left, back left. But I think the easiest solution to that is just to use a numerical system, or that's at least what I like. So once you've done that for all 3 of the hallways and you're on your way back with the final nuclear core, this time it's going to be a Mac Daddy brig. It's going to be a giant brig, huge yellow bar that you're going to have to kill to unlock the chest. Now, this isn't really a big deal here because you can just take your time. I mean, you do have to pass around the nuclear core if you're not able to melt this brig really, really fast. Just keep in mind that there's still that 60-second timer while it's on the ground, and if you're holding it, it's building up that radiation until you get to ×10. Once you kill the brig, same thing. It's going to be the force field around the chest disappears, plant the 3rd nuclear core, and that is the first encounter completed. Okay, so for this next area, we're going to call this encounter 1.5. So there's going to be a servitor that spawns that is immune. You can't damage him, so you'll just have to kind of avoid him. Now, if you see on the left side of the screen, there's something that says power reserves. When you activate, or deactivate rather, that barrier, it's going to give you 1 on your power reserve. What you need to do is you're going to progress your way through the area. It's kind of like a big maze. When you open the doors like the ones I just opened there, it's going to use one of your power reserves to open and open those doors. So you kind of need to make sure that you close doors behind you so you can get your power back. Anytime you come across a console that disables a barrier, that will give you a little bit of extra power to make it easier to progress. But what you need to do is kill those captains. You're going to find those captains that have an arc shield. Killing them will drop a nuclear core. What you need to do with this nuclear core is take it to one of the numerical bins. There's going to be 5 bins total, and then you can see they're numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, and of course 5. You do need to deposit those in order, and then anytime that you deposit a core, a captain will literally spawn right on top of you, so you can just pick up your very next core. Once you get to the 3rd one, it's going to open a big door. So what you're doing is essentially providing enough power to open up the big door. In this first area, you need to do all 3, and that'll open up this door. There should be a captain waiting for you on the other side. And then for this area, there's only 2 bins that you need to deposit cores in to open up the final door. You can see as of right now, we have no power reserves, but if you turn this corner here, there's a console that you can disable that big barrier and give yourself a little bit of extra power. There are multiple consoles that are throughout this maze that you can disable and give yourself a lot of. You can actually have up to 4 power reserves to make it easier on you if you'd like, but you can get through this just fine with just that one as long as you're closing doors behind you. Anyways, you're going to keep making your way through, kind of trying to avoid the boss as best as possible, keep taking that core, and eventually you will deposit in all 5 bins. Once you deposit the 5th and final bin, that will open up this door here. On the left, there's going to be a hole in the ground, and you just need to jump down to make your way to the 2nd encounter. Okay, once in the 2nd encounter, we are now going to be fighting that servitor that was just immune a moment ago. I believe his name is Ranix. There's going to be a bunch of ad clear in the very beginning part of it with 1 viral carrier. he is going to drop operator. What I like to do is take that operator, deposit it in that augmentation terminal. That way we always know where operator is when we need it. Just makes life a little bit easier. But what you're going to do is add clear like crazy. I think Risk Runner is probably the go-to. I know I'm using Trinity Ghoul here, which Trinity Ghoul is great. But Risk Runner, because there's so much arc damage that's just flowing everywhere, you will constantly have Conductor going. So I think if you're having trouble staying alive here, Risk Runner is the go-to. Anyways, after enough ad clearing, a yellow bar is going to spawn, a Machine Priest. Once you kill that yellow bar Machine Priest, the boss is going to teleport you to a different arena, which is going to be infested with Shanks. Now this, take a defensive positioning and eliminate the Exploder Shanks as quickly as possible. If you're trying to solo flawless this, I think those Exploder Shanks are really what could break the run. Those are the issue, in my opinion. Once you've cleared out all the Shanks, you're going to get another viral carrier to appear. This time it is going to be the first time we're seeing Suppressor, the blue one. So looking for him, there it is. So Suppressor is going to work a little bit differently than it did in the Deepstone Crypt encounter as well. It's going to replace your grenade ability with like an ability that can deploy a decoy, which will, once you shoot it, it'll explode and you can stun the boss. So you can see I looked at that servitor there. He had a number 3. His name was Ranix and then number 3. What we're doing for this encounter is we are getting a 4-digit passcode to be able to unlock the ability to do damage to the boss. That's where operator comes in, which you will see here in a minute. But you can see all the servitors that kind of came out of the boss. There's 2 of them that you notice look a little bit differently. They kind of have like a purplish glow to them, but they also have multiple eyes, I guess is what you want to call them, multiple lights on the very front of it. You want to jot down, take note of the numbers of the name of the 2 that have the extra eyes on front of them or are glowing purple. So you can see it was 3 and I think it was 6. So somewhere just jot down 36. That is the first half of the 4-digit passcode that you would need. Yeah, 36. So you can see my buddy there, he just put it in chat. That is the first half of the 4-digit passcode that you need. You can see on the right side here, here's all those numbers that are connected to those kind of keypads. Once we get all 4 of those numbers, you then shoot the appropriate, and it doesn't have to be in order. I know I saw some people saying it had to be the exact order that you saw it in. There's no specific order. You can shoot it in any order that you want as long as you shoot all 4 of the correct numbers. And I can confirm that because I made sure every single time to shoot it in a weird order, and I've yet to actually die from doing it in some kind of wanky order. And there's no way that I've done it correct like the 20 times I've done this dungeon already. Anyway, so here we go. I'm going to show my buddy Kenzie. He's dropping another suppressor. He was a little bit too far away, though, so you just got to make sure you're a little bit closer to the boss. And then drop it, and then you can shoot it. Once you do that, it'll stun the boss. Now we're going to be paying attention here for these servitors. You can see there's one down to my left, and there's one right there. That's the number 1. I'm looking for it. I'm watching this back, I saw him, but I guess I didn't see him real time. So I definitely saw the number 1, and then the other one is right. You can see it has kind of a purple glow to it, but also has those eyes. So number 7. So for this specific clip, our combination is going to be 8913 for this clip. Not 17 at all. So yeah, 8913. So what you want to do is pick up your operator buff, run around, and shoot the correct numerical passcode. Once you do that, you can go ahead and redeposit your operator buff. And then another suppressor tracer is going to spawn. Someone needs to pick up that suppressor, and they're going to stun the boss one last time. Stunning that boss will allow you to now do damage. It's going to kind of go into... Its damage for this encounter is kind of weird, because I believe it's a shared across all of those servitors. So AoE stuff is really what shines here. Behemoth Titan, from my understanding, is the DPS king of this encounter. I know Dill, during contest mode, Dill was using a Behemoth Titan with, I think he was using Tractor Cannon, and we almost, like, easily almost two-phased it. And he was the only Behemoth Titan, so he did massive, massive damage. So for this encounter, for DPS, I would recommend something that's AoE. Behemoth Titan seems to be the go-to for right now. I'm still working on Warlock and Hunter, what they should be using. But you're just going to kind of keep repeating that cycle, keep getting the 4-digit passcode, enter the 4-digit passcode in, do your damage, stun the boss, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. So here I'm using Edge Transit and Nova Bomb, and it's okay, but there's going to be way, way better options out there. So once I figure out what a really good DPS option is for this boss, I will definitely pin a comment somewhere. Or if you know and have suggestions, let me know, because as of right now, Behemoth Titan is the only one that I know of that does just an insane amount of damage. But once you get to kind of this, I'm going to call this like a checkpoint of damage. every single servitor is going to go to like a one tap, and then basically you just need to finish them all off. There is no him going immune or anything. It's just finish them off. And that would be the second encounter complete. Now, this is the part where I say this encounter might be bugged or kind of wonky, because like you see me drilling these servitors and no health is changing. So I think maybe it's scripted, or maybe it's just bugged right now. I don't know, but it definitely is a little glitchy, it seems. Anyways, after you've defeated all those servitors, that would be the second encounter completed. Now, jumping puzzle, gotta love it. Between the second and third encounter is going to be a jumping puzzle, but there's going to be orange lightning that's kind of raining down on you. That's going to be some foreshadowing for the final encounter. So just make your way through the wreckage, dodging the lightning, and eventually you'll get yourself to the third encounter. Nothing crazy about this one. Okay, so for the third and final encounter, this is going to be the culmination of everything that you have learned. You are fighting the corrupted puppeteer. Right off the bat, he is going to spawn two quote-unquote puppets. They are going to be immune, that have an aura of radiation around them. If you build up stacks of radiation up to ×10, you will die. The job of Suppressor in this opening room is to do the stun mechanic so that you can damage those puppets. And once you defeat the two puppets, that's when you'll spawn the next buff. So in this total room, as long as you actually pick up the buff, Operator and Scanner, there will only be 4 puppets that you have to deal with. You can see on the left-hand side there, once you spawn Scanner, you can see there's a blue number 1, a blue number 3 in the distance. On my right, there's a blue number 2 and 4. Scanner is going to go stand next to those pylons to find out which one of them is real. Only 1 out of the 4 will be real. They're going to relay that blue number to the Operator. Now, in this room, you're going to see there's keypads all over the place that have numbers associated, either 1, 2, 3, or 4. There is going to be 4 of each number, so the Operator needs to shoot whatever number the scanner calls out. He needs to shoot all 4 of them. Once you shoot all 4 of them, that's how you get to the next area. So, Suppressor, just keep defeating the puppets. You can see that I killed the second one there. That spawns Scanner. The boss is going to spawn 2 more. Once you kill the other 2, that'll spawn Operator. So, as of right now, the scanner should be finding out which one's real, calling that out. I, as Suppressor, should be dealing with these puppets, which that's what I'm doing. As soon as I'm done, I can go ahead and just deposit my buff. And make sure before you go down, you deposit your buff into the augmentation terminal. There is 3 in this area. You can see on the right side there, once you do that, this like hole is going to open up to where you can jump down. The boss is going to be located on the side that has the red lights. So you can see there's red lights glowing there. You can see these up top as well. So make sure this blue side and red side, make sure that you jump down the side that has the red lights glowing. So this side, blue side, has the red lights, so we know the boss is in this area. So what you're going to do is you're going to make your way into this room here. You can see the boss is right there. If you deposited your 3 buffs in the terminals, they should be waiting for you in this terminal here. Now, for this area, I am going to be Scanner to show what it looks like. So to start this, Operator is going to shoot the 4 panels that are in this room. Once that happens, a bunch of puppets are going to spawn. As Scanner, you need to run around to find out which one of these puppets are real. So this one is real, so you're going to go ahead and do a bunch of damage to it. When you kill that puppet, he is going to drop a nuclear core. Before going into that room that opens up with the nuclear core, make sure everybody deposits their buffs back, at least on the first go of this, because it'll make it easier so you don't have to kill any enemies to reacquire the buff. That's a big tip right there. So make sure you deposit your buffs back in the augmentation terminal, then come down into this room, because there's that aura that will erase your buff, and if it's not in that terminal, there will be enemies that spawn that you have to go kill to get your buff back. So this just makes it, again, a lot smoother process. So you can see now we took the boss's shield down by half. So you just go to the red room now, and you're going to repeat this cycle. As Scanner, I am looking for the real one. If you need to pause the video to see, but you're going standing by each one, figuring out which one's real, killing it, and then picking up the nuclear core. Because we're going up and doing damage to the boss after this, you do not need to deposit your augmentation or your buff into the augmentation terminal for the last one. Once that happens, you're going to see hostile detected on outer hull, threat level, blah, 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 blah. That means the boss is all the way up the tippity top, so we can go up there and now start damage phase. For this, you can take a breather, get your mods, adjust exotics, whatever you need to do, because there is no time limit for this. You can just kind of chill for a second. And then once you head into this area here, it is going to shoot you up into the air and damage phase. God, this is such a pretty arena. For this, Edge Transit's really good. I know Grand Overture is what a lot of people are using. He is going to be up on this middle terminal, but he is going to move, and he's going to spawn a bunch of puppets as well. So I don't think there's any benefit from killing the puppets as far as I know. So we were just focusing primarily on damaging the boss and trying to avoid the puppets, maybe clearing them out if they got a little too close. But just everything at your disposal. Whisper of the Worm would be good here, but I think Grand Overture is the go-to. Anyways, a enemy is going to spawn a shiny enemy that when you kill it, it'll spawn a core. He's going to go immune, and he's going to do a white mechanic like you can see here. This door on the left-hand side will open up, so you want to take your core, come into this room, and deposit it in the terminal to keep yourself safe, just like we were doing earlier in this encounter. After that, it basically extends the damage phase, so you can do a little bit more damage to him. My mistake here is I probably should have switched to Outbreak Perfected. I've noticed a lot of people, they're doing damage with their heavy weapon and then switching to Outbreak Perfected for that extra little bit of damage. And knowing that now is definitely what I'll be doing for the remainder of this dungeon. So, and yeah, basically that's the encounter. So you're just going to keep doing damage to him until he does his white mechanic. Once he does his white mechanic, which I think he's going to do here in a second, you basically need to escape, go back down, and do the steps we just did all over again. So now he's doing it. He's immune. He communes with the anomaly is what it says on the left there. Head back down here. Once you head back down here, it's like the opening scene in Fallout 4, and you're safe. And then you're just going to repeat all the steps over again. You're going to the entrance room, and you're going to shoot all of the keypads that have that specified number that scanner is going to call out, suppressing the puppets in the first room. Then you make your way down. You're going to stun the boss or use the nuclear core, find out which puppet is real. You're going to do all the steps over again, come back up, do damage, and keep repeating that process until eventually you beat the dungeon. So if you have any questions, please feel free to leave it in a comment down below. I'll do my best to assist. And if you like the video, like and consider subscribing. Talk to y'all later. Love y'all. Bye.